Yeah, sorry about the wait there. I was debugging a problem with a microphone. We've got some background noise here that's affecting us, but we don't want to turn it off. It's fan noise, and we don't want to turn it off because it's so humid right now in San Carlos. It's the only relief we're getting in Tequilas.
This morning it was 5:30. It was 75 outside with a 78 humidity.
Yeah, it's amazing how hot it feels when you add the humidity.
Yeah.
Well, it's 56 degrees on your scale here in Sherwood Park, and for the last 3 days we've had a wind chill factor, making it feel like less than that. So, talk about differences.
Well, did I actually introduce ourselves as San Carlos Computer Club? We meet every Tuesday at 10. I'm Scott with Jim here at the in-person. It looks like we've got Chester and Fred and Cheryl with us online. And as you can see from our group photo here in person, we're done with meetings. We're going to have one more meeting. I'm going to show up probably for breakfast next Tuesday, and that will be the last one. And then the meeting after that, I don't believe I'm going to host a meeting after that because I'll be in travel. And so I think the next meeting after, well, yeah.
I'll be here next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday? Great.
Yeah, I'm going to leave tomorrow.
Okay, so the 20th we'll have a meeting in person. The 27th, I'm thinking we will not have a meeting. And so the next meeting after that will be only virtual, and that'll start on June 3rd. No more in-person meeting. Yeah.
You're going to Alaska, and when do you go to Paris?
Wow, 2 weeks after that. We'll leave like on the 16th. And so, yeah, actually, while we're in Paris, I'm not going to try and have meetings, I don't think. I'm not going to bring a computer with me that would allow me to easily do that.
But gee, I thought I'd be able to practice my French. Bonjour.
Duolingo.
No.
I've been using Duolingo. That's been working for me. Well, you know, Bibi will be coming back when you come back, so you'll be able to practice your French with her. She speaks it like an expert now. Did everyone get a link to the document of possible topics that I sent out yesterday? Regardless, I'll drop that link in this chat here, so it's easily accessible. What do you got?
That's what you need for your Volkswagen.
Remote battery disconnect switch. Prevent battery drain, disconnect negative. Anti-theft. Cool.
And it's because your batteries have a tendency to go dead because of electronic ignition and all that in it. And this is just, it disconnects everything.
Oh.
If you don't care about your clock or your radio, if you have one,
Yeah.
you can put it on the ground side, which it's all set up for, and it works perfect. For me, I moved it to the hot side because I want my clock and my tape deck to remember its programming.
Yeah, I would imagine that's definitely important. I hadn't even thought of it having a drain.
Well, you'll find out when you come back.
I just recently put in a stereo that has a face plate to remove.
Removal.
Yeah, and so I wonder.
Well, if one wire goes to hot,
Yeah.
usually the yellow.
I got a hot, and I've got a constant, and I've got a.
The constant one's the one that retains all the programming.
Yeah.
If you put a kill switch on your negative side, it won't work. But if you put it on your positive side, you can still run the wire to the positive side of the battery and it'll retain it.
Well, I just recently bought a new battery for the Vocho. I got a correct battery where the heads are recessed into the plastic so they can't rub up against the metal seat in the back. Somebody put whatever battery in there before. But now I have an actual. And actually, I think the battery I had before had a dead cell in it, but it doesn't pull enough amps to matter. as long as it's got a good charge on it.
Yeah.
So the problem I was having is I would stop for a moment or two, or I'd hit the starter button before turning the key. And then after that, it was a real chore to start it up. I don't know if I'd flooded it or whatever, but that chore was what would drain the battery so it wouldn't work. And that's what prompted me to go buy a new battery.
Yeah.
So this has been Volkswagen Sedan Talk with Scott and Jim. We're ready to take all your questions. So you can take a look at the document I prepared. If you're interested in any of the topics, then we can talk about those. Otherwise, I'm interested in whatever's going on in your guys' life. I want people to start passing around this link to the Bill of Digital Rights. I keep finding myself in conversations about it. It would be great to have people out there. I guess I need to create a Facebook page for it, or some kind of social media for it, so there's a place for people to respond to it. Maybe an X account or a Blue Skies account. But if you guys were so inclined, you get into the conversation. Remember, the link exists in the documents that I send out, and just about any document over the last year will have a link to the Bill of Digital Rights. So you're welcome to go in there and find the link to share with whoever or whatever social media you might be on. But I want to make a concerted effort of mentioning this in public discord. Start getting some real feedback and some support for such a thing. Bed and breakfast is going hot, so if you are interested in coming to Alaska, you got to let me know now, because it's filling up real quick. We have not done much on the smartphones for dummies, but remember that if you come across a phone topic that you think is appropriate to teach others, please let me know so I can add it to the bottom of this ongoing document. And the VPN, the blog post that explains why we have trouble with these VPNs is here. So if you want to review or send somebody access to this document, yeah, if they're interested in any of these things, and they'll always find these links here in this document. All right, I've done that. I'm ready for any new topics. Anything out there? Cheryl's already got her hand up. What is it, Cheryl?
Well, sort of related to what you're talking about. Bill of Digital Rights and Expats Mexico newsletter. At the bottom of the newsletter, it always asks, do you have expertise or a business our readers need to know about? Click here to be featured as an expat insider Mexico. So I wondered if your digital rights would be something that you would want to share with expats living in Mexico.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I should take a look at that. I guess I hadn't even noticed that. And Cheryl's talking about, we've got a link down here to it, the Expats Insider Mexico. And you're saying at the bottom of this...
It comes out... Yeah, after the say it in Spanish...
Unknown caller.
Oh.
Are you talking to your smart speaker?
So down at the bottom
Expat
after say it in Spanish, which is always fun to look at, they just have a thing, why do we have an Insider Mexico newsletter, and asking for any input. Speaking of cell phones, on your cell phone thing,
Yeah.
Bill and I successfully installed in my iPhone Mini 13 with AT&T USA a Canadian eSIM, and converted it so that I have 2 lines on this phone.
All right.
And I will be searching for, how do I make sure when I'm in Mexico next winter that my Canadian line is not roaming, is not all that kind of stuff. So that's something that I'm going to have to learn how to do, but I'm going to put it off until my brain can concentrate on that.
Well, and like you mentioned at the beginning of our meeting, I'm heading to France for 2 weeks, and I'm really curious what I should be doing for data services. My daughter just broke down and got herself a SIM chip because she was going to be there all year, but we're only going to be there for 2 weeks, and so I'm mulling over, and I'm open to any insight that anybody here has. Do I get my own SIM for the next 2 weeks? Do I add an international thing to my AT&T? Do I add more data to my daughter's plan and make her the family hotspot? These are the kinds of things I'm thinking about. Fred, I see you already have a comment you'd like to make. Go right ahead.
Well, we have T-Mobile, and so far in all of our travel, which is probably 30 countries or more, we've only found one country where our data did not work, and that was the Falkland Islands, with a population of 3,000 people. But other than that, all over the world where we've been, it works fine. But
that's a great suggestion. I happen to be on AT&T prepaid with a special rate for North America. And I've got a feeling, I haven't looked into it yet, but I've got a feeling that I'd have to add an international package to it to be able to, and I'm concerned that maybe even the most basic services wouldn't be available to me unless I did something like that. So I need to explore it. I was hoping to exploit your guys' information, though. You're where I'm starting to explore. T-Mobile.
T-Mobile is unlimited data in 122 countries. So,
wow, what do you pay monthly for that?
Well, we're both over 55, well over, and we pay $100 a month on that plan for two.
That $100 a month is 2 phones?
2 phones.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I think my special rate right now is $300 a year for unlimited. No, not unlimited. Well, 16 gigs of data with a slowdown at the cap, and all of United States, Mexico, and Canada.
Well, we have unlimited, and I don't think they slow us down. At least I don't notice it any different.
Yeah.
And we're
I never use up my data cap. I seldom use up my data cap here, and it's 3 gigs because I'm always surrounded by Wi-Fi wherever I go.
You might check to see if you can get a Mexico
Scott,
chip that'll work over there.
Yeah, that might be possible too. What's that, Cheryl?
I just searched online asking about AT&T prepaid accounts. Is there such a thing as an add-on? They've got an international day pass, which provides unlimited talk, text, and data in over 210 destinations for a daily fee. It says for a daily fee, example, $12 per day on land, $20 at sea. You can use your phone as you would at home, including destinations with unlimited talk, text, and data.
Did you say $12 a day?
Yep.
It would probably be cheaper just to get a French chip.
Yeah.
$12 a
12
day?
times 30.
Jesus.
Well,
Oh, AT&T, always trying to take advantage of it. What is that? What does that? 12 times 30? That ends up being what? $360 a month.
400.
400.
360.
12 times 30? No.
12 times 3 is
would
36,
be-
so $360, yes.
Yeah, it would be $360. $360
But
for
Scott-
30 days. Cheryl, you're talking, but I don't hear anything.
Okay, well, I don't know why
No,
you
I don't hear
me.
anything. Is that me or you? Oh, our display has frozen on us again.
Oh,
So maybe it isn't
Yeah, it
distance.
is.
Maybe there's
Look
something
at
else
that
going
grin
on.
you got on your
If you-
face.
If you can hear me, give me a second because I'm going to switch our audio over to my computer. Testing 1, 2. Say something now.
okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you
Can you
now.
hear me now? You
Yep.
can hear me now. Okay.
I got you.
AT&T prepaid 2 phones, Canada, Mexico, USA, unlimited data, unlimited calls and texting costs us $90 a month. So
For the
when
two
you say
phones.
you pay $300 a year
Yeah,
for
$300 a year. But you have to buy it in a year block.
no,
So like when I get back to Alaska around June, I'll have to make a $300 payment for the upcoming year.
well, I make a $90 US payment every month
For two phones. Yeah. This deal is only available, I think it's still available, but it's only a deal available as an online deal. You can't go into an AT&T store.
That's not ours is. Our prepaid is exactly the same way. It's virtual shopping only, and everything is eSIMs, and yeah, it's all done
How much data do you get with your plan?
unlimited.
Okay, so mine's 16 gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which feels unlimited because I'm always around Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, and ours has worked very well in Mexico, in the States, and a couple of places in Montana, Idaho. It was a little iffy until it kind of caught up. But as we're traveling through, we've been able to keep in touch all the way.
Yeah, Jim's just now asking if the Telcel chip works in Alaska, and it does. It actually goes across the same network. In the past, there's been flaky problems, but it seems to be mostly contractual things. I've run into issues in the past and recommend this to people that are traveling where their phone didn't work in a particular cell, and just rebooting the phone in that cell, like re-announced it to the cell, and it would then get on and be able to be used. So I used to go running on this bike trail, and when I'd first show up to Alaska, the phone wouldn't work at my parents' place, and I'd reboot it and then it would work. And then I'd go out to the bike trail and I'd swap cells and it wouldn't work there, and I'd have to reboot the phone and then it would work in that cell. And as I would come back, it would work everywhere.
What I've had good luck with traveling is the Mexican cell, Telcel, and Google Voice,
Oh, okay.
because it just works hand in hand.
Now, not Google Fi, but Google Voice.
Google Voice.
Now,
You have your own phone number, and you can send pictures and everything through it.
but
And the phone number's free.
is it still a thing, or has it been merged into Fi?
No, it's still Google Voice.
My gosh, I haven't thought about this in a long time. Google Voice, it's still a thing. Look at that.
It works great. And it also rings at my Mexico house, the Tucson house, my cell phone, and my wife's cell phone.
Well, that's great. And you know, it's good to rethink about some of this stuff because Skype is gone,
Yeah,
right?
Skype's gone. And with the Telcel, you only pay $10. I pay only $10 a month. 200 pesos.
All right.
And I never run out of data.
I'm going to drop Google Voice in our app recommendations here because I haven't looked at it in years.
It's nice and clear.
And the fact that it's not associated with Fi, but maybe Fi is a solution too. I didn't even think about that until just
Never
now.
heard of it.
Wait, that's their phone service. That's their like eSIM phone service.
Oh, all right.
Google Fi. No, what? How do you spell it? I think that's it. FI, Google Fi Wireless for phone plans and mobile phones. Oh, is it still only available on Pixel? I thought this was now available on anything. Oh yeah, because there's a Moto G, a Samsung. Unlimited premium, 100 gigabytes of high-speed data for $110 a year. No, $110 a month. Too bad, huh? For two phones. Well, they don't have a
Sid
very...
has his hand up there, Scott.
All right, Sid, what do you want to say?
Wow, you sound so excited about that.
Yeah. Go on.
No,
Go on.
I can just go home. Anyhow, no, what I was going to say was I'm probably paying the most on cell phone. I'm paying 98 a month for AT&T Unlimited, and that's U.S., Canada, and Mexico. And yeah, I got the data figured out with Mexico. I went in and talked to them, so it works. But I have 100 gigs for data. I have 100 gigs until they slow me down, and then the hotspot is 60 gigs until they slow me down.
Well, that's if
And
you
that's
turn
one
on
line.
your hotspot, you have an additional data from the
I
hotspot.
can run 60 gigs on my computer. I can stream video, all that fun stuff.
But it doesn't. Those are
On
two.
that,
So your 100
it's
gigs
two
actually.
different things. Yeah.
Actually, the way to look at that is the 100 gigs isn't applicable to the hotspot.
No, that's just the phone. If I'm
Okay.
using just the phone and I'm doing searches and all that on the phone, that's the 100 gigs. If I link something in through the hotspot, that's 60 gigs.
I wonder if you could use the 100 gigs if you plug the phone to your computer with a USB cable, because that. In fact,
I don't know.
in a Mac world, I mean, if you had a Mac, I know you don't have a Mac, but like you have a MacBook computer and an iPhone, your iPhone always shows up as a source, whether you're using hotspot or not. I wonder if you were to be using a Macintosh and connect, well, your iPad is probably one you could check it with, Sid. If you were to use the iPad to connect to your cell phone without using a hotspot, if that would
I've
count.
tried that with
That's
Bluetooth and doesn't work very well.
Well, it should
actually,
be
Sid,
Wi-Fi.
my phone automatically, it's got a setting under general settings, under cellular, I think it is, and it says answer on device, other device. And so what happens when my phone rings, even though my iPad doesn't have a SIM card or anything in it, I can talk on my phone on my on my iPad. All my
Yeah.
calls come through on it, and it's it's unlimited
Well-
data and calls. So
Well, Cheryl, what
I
you're
haven't tried that.
enlightening to is this same concept, because you're able to do that
Yeah.
through Wi-Fi, because Apple's got this proprietary way of connecting its devices, and that's what I'm getting at with the Wi-Fi connection without turning on a hotspot. Are you
Right.
able to connect your device to your phone, because you'd see it there in your list of possible connections, and then does that
No.
Yes.
count towards the
I
60
can do
or
that
the
through
100?
Bluetooth, but it's sketchy. And then
Well, it's not Bluetooth we're talking about. It's
no,
Wi-Fi.
it's not through Bluetooth. It's through. It's called Wi-Fi calling. Has to be turned on the cell phone and on the iPad, and then answer on other device. It's in the general settings under cellular.
Well, this
Yeah,
would be
no,
a-
I run that all the time. Matter of fact, that's what I do most of the time in Mexico.
Yeah,
And when both devices are on the same Wi-Fi source, they'll both ring.
yeah,
Right. Well,
and you can answer on
But
either one. Yeah.
If I don't have a Wi-Fi source, they don't.
Oh,
and really what I'm referring to is that your phone, without having a hotspot turned on, appears in the Macintosh Wi-Fi connector as a Wi-Fi source. And what I'm curious about is if you were to connect a Macintosh device to it, because this is a Mac thing. This is a Mac thing, and maybe your iPad would help you test this. Without having your hotspot turned on, you're able to see your iPhone. You're signed into the same accounts. You're sitting right next to each other, and it appears as a Wi-Fi source to connect to.
mine does not appear under Wi-Fi as a source. Do not pay for the hotspot,
And this is apart from the hotspot. The hotspot allows you to hook up Android devices and Windows devices and things of that nature. But this is part of the Apple ecosystem. And so I have never tested it with an iPad or another iDevice, a mobile device. But I've definitely done it with a Macintosh computer. And what appears under your selection of Wi-Fi networks is your iPhone, regardless of whether you have hotspot enabled or not. Fred, you've put your hand up and down a couple of times. I've got a feeling you've got a bunch of things to say about this. So go right ahead.
Well, I'm on my iPad. My telephone is over across the room being charged, I can answer and make phone calls on my iPad. I don't have the SIM in there to do that. But, it's making calls on my phone
Right? Yeah, and that's
from here.
yeah, and that's because you're on the same Wi-Fi, like Sid had mentioned earlier, and Cheryl's experience she's had, is you're on the same Wi-Fi network at that point, and it sees the devices, and they're signed into the same username, and so you're able to pass those calls over to the other device.
But I'm not on hotspot.
Right, right. Now the distinction I'm making is when you're not on the same Wi-Fi network, or actually you're just not even on a Wi-Fi network, and you're connecting a Macintosh device. When you go to the Wi-Fi, you'll see your iPhone there. If you're signed into the same iCloud account and they're both Mac devices, then your Macintosh will see that as a source to be connected to for internet. Whereas an Android device will not see it, or Windows won't see it unless you turn the hotspot on. And I'd be really curious to see if there's a distinction with that 100 gigs Sid's talking about and the 60 gigs. If you're using a Mac computer with an iPhone, if just in the ecosystem, you could take advantage of that 100 gigs.
Well,
Okay, Scott.
unlimited data, so it doesn't make any difference.
For sure. I mean,
So
just go to real world instead of thought exercise. That's fine.
So Scott,
Yeah.
I have my iPad in the truck and I'm trying it right now.
Yeah.
And what it does is it turns my hotspot on my phone.
That's what it does? Oh, wow.
That's what it does.
Wild.
I'm sitting looking at in settings on my phone and I turn my hotspot off and then I try to do something on my iPad because it gave me the option for iPhone with the hotspot turned off, and then I went to Facebook and I turned it on and reset it and turned my hotspot on.
That's wild. So what that is a bit of remote administration that's being passed along. It's seeing your iPhone. You've got the same user account, and when you go to access it, it's going into your iPhone and turning on your hotspot so that you can use it within and at that point, then your hotspot's available to any device around. So your Macintosh is performing one, or your iPad is performing one task that all these other devices can't do. It's able to tell your phone to turn on the hotspot.
Yeah.
That's wild. And I'd never understood how that worked until just now. Thank you, Sid.
Hey, no problem. I had all the stuff here and I'm like, well, let's give it a shot.
Well, that's some great insight. That's what the computer club is for, is helping ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hotspots and iPhones. I'm going to put that here. Hotspots, iPhones, and data plans. Google Fi Wireless. I'll put a link for Google Fi here if you guys have any interest, but it looks cost prohibitive now because there's just cheaper deals out there. So I mean, maybe it'll satisfy something somebody needs, but doesn't look like anything that I want to pay for.
Speaking of Google and paying for,
What do you got?
Mexico sues Google for following Trump's Gulf of America name change.
I love it.
I love it too. There's not a lot of reporting going on, but the expats newsletter talks about your president and how she started this lawsuit against Google for changing the name.
Yeah, that's I mean, I don't have much commentary to make on it myself. I was aware of the lawsuit that they were putting together because they can't. They're misrepresenting Mexico. It's really funny how this really stupid topic enlightens us to the legalities of some of this stuff. Apparently, it's legal within a certain distance below the country or around the country to rename that body of water for its parent country.
It's 12 miles.
What is it?
12 miles, I think.
12 miles? Jim seems to think it's 12 miles. I don't have any information in front of me but Jim, so we're going to call it 12 miles. And so that means that the Gulf of Mexico exists in Mexico's world up to a certain distance, 12 miles. And so Google does not have the authority to cast that kind of misinformation in this country. It has to at least distinguish between the two different naming conventions based on how close they are on the map.
And it, depending on where you are, when you log into Google Maps, depends what you're going to see.
Well, I
the
think,
thing that just shocked me was that...
Isn't that part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that the thing that really shocked me was, this was thrown out there, and I thought that was just a rambling thing. But the bill passed, just barely passed, in the House on Tuesday. Now, it's not expected, I guess, to advance in the Senate. But I just was shocked that a silly little idea, poking fun, I thought, turned out to be something more.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's all just distraction because they're doing just so much damage throughout the country. They don't want us to look at that. They want us to fight over silly stuff.
I'm on my neck's getting exercise.
Did you guys see one of the articles that I brought here? Ars Technica has got a little summary on Bill Gates. In one of his interviews, he just basically said Elon Musk is responsible for killing the world's poorest children. These changes, these cuts, the savings of Doge has cut into budgets that provide health care and food and famine relief throughout the world. And that's Bill Gates' point. It's interesting when you have billionaires battling against each other. The Department of Government Efficiency.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
Now that Elon has put it together, it is not. From his perspective, I imagine. So Gates is saying here he's going to give away $200 billion on global health, development, and education. I guess that means we should listen to him. But last week, this was a big article. I found all kinds of summaries of this interview that he had given, basically accusing Elon Musk of killing children. Nobody has any comments on Elon, Microsoft, or killing children. I will move on.
Well, we did just get our first group of Afrikaner immigrants.
What does that mean?
Immigrants or refugees?
Oh, Trump's calling them refugees,
Yes.
but they're really wealthy people that had farms, and they're claiming all sorts of, we're being persecuted, we're being killed, all this stuff, and that's not what's happening over there.
The South African. Yeah.
These are also from the same people, same group politically that was forcing to bring, they want to bring apartheid back.
Yeah, the Canadian news reporting on that has been quite extensive about the refugees being allowed from South Africa. And yeah.
We'll find it. It's there somewhere. Well, instead of turning into a political meeting, let's see what else I brought along. Oh,
Well, your next
or-
one is about the pictures being taken. We've noticed the last 2 years, I think it's been, since the crossing going out of the United States at Mariposa. We've had to go past the booths of the U.S. border crossing guards, and the camera flashes every time, and the people are standing there and they're looking at a monitor or they're looking at us, and so they've been taking our picture every time we leave the United States and coming into Mexico for at least the last year, maybe year and a half.
do you remember when the joke was that the wall is actually to keep the Americans in?
Yeah, if they want you to spend your money there.
Right? It's just the other one that was always funny is how hard it is to get out of the United States or get into the United States.
Canada's harder.
Neither is as hard as dealing with the Mexican frontera.
Canada's harder.
Well, I bet Canadians would disagree with you.
I've crossed 4 or 5 times. It's harder.
That might just be retribution at this point.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, think about what Mexico did just a few months ago, making everybody or eliminating the ability to apply for a visa there at 21 and gumming up the works of people that have never adopted to doing it online. So that people ended up waiting hours in line to get processed or even just turned away because they couldn't get processed because Mexico shut down that system. Felt very retaliatory in a very passive aggressive way, in a very Mexican way. Well, it felt very passive aggressive, and I mean, like a very Mexican way, very passive aggressive. We're like, no, you've been able to do this online for 5 years. We're just shutting down your ability to do it in person, without giving you any warning. Well, and the really passive aggressive part was where they were going to start enforcing it. Everybody's like, how can you get in trouble for not having the visa? It's like, well, because they're going to start enforcing it. They never bothered before.
It's always been a law.
Yeah,
They
you've
just
always
don't-
had to do it. It's like you're getting upset for getting caught running red lights. It's like you weren't supposed to be running red lights in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, this is also the first year that I've had to deal with going over the 1 week visa and having to pay. Because normally it was a 30-day visa, tourist visa, and I never had to pay leaving the airport. Well, they hit me with it this year, and it was 840 pesos.
Oh wow! So it's almost $50 to get out of Mexico.
Yeah, they charged me to get out of Mexico, and my argument was they had the wrong date written down on my entry. It was like 2 weeks before I showed up. And I was able to get hold of the consulate in Phoenix and talk to somebody, and they refunded my money, and they told me, you want to arrange for your visa before you go down from now on.
Right?
Now, is that only when you're flying into?
No, this is.
I don't know.
You're talking about the online visa application that people have to do?
Now, are
Yeah.
we talking about the FMM? Are we talking
No,
about
we're
the?
talking tourist visas.
This is my tourist visa. I'm not.
Yeah. We're talking about
I don't
anything
have-
under 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as a Canadian, I get the FMM form.
That's the
It's,
same thing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
an FMM.
that's your temporary residence or your permanent residence.
No,
FMM?
no, it's what people refer to as a tourist visa. Nowhere on it does it say that I have a visa. I have to get this FMM, which is a federational. I can't say the Spanish words. Migration, multiple migration. It allows me an in out for 180 days. They sometimes give you for 180, depending on what you say to them, and it costs about
That's 6 months.
840 pesos.
That's the FMM. FMM.
Yeah, that's the FMM, which a lot of people refer to as a visa, but actually,
Well-
the Mexican doesn't ask me to get a visa. They ask me to get this migration paper, and it's basically an ID, and it is attached to my passport, well, associated with my passport, and it's what I turn in when I leave the country.
Well, what I
There-
can tell you for
there's no
certain,
visa.
Cheryl, is if you were looking for the kind of permission that allowed you to come down for a wedding in Cancun for the weekend, you would have to apply for that online and show up at the frontera with it, ready to go.
Okay, that has always been an option. Are you
I'm saying
Now
that's
that
the
it
only
is-
option now. Yeah, and it's recent. It's happened while you were here.
okay? Because when we got ours in November
Yeah,
election
no,
day, November
this
4th.
happened. This happened during tariffs. This is one of the things that Mexico decided to do was to stop using 21 for that. So you need to have the paperwork. You need to be ready. You need to have it signed, and you need to have it paid for when you show up at 21. Because if you don't have any of that in line, you're going to be turned around until you can get online and get that taken care of. You can't approach.
Well, we always go over to El Cadonas, which is south of Yuma, for
This is all
various
border
reasons.
crossings. This isn't this
Really?
is a new policy through immigration. And so they are
Huh.
it has to be
Strike
done
back.
online. What's that?
It's a strike back.
It's a strike, but yeah, Jim's right. It's a strike back at the United States. It's a passive aggressive way of being hostile to the United States for what they're doing with tariffs and immigration.
So
It's blatantly that.
when I show up
You need to
in
have
El Cadonas as a Canadian citizen,
I can't tell
You're
you that.
gonna-
I'm not Canadian, but this is definitely
Yeah.
the way the Americans are dealing with it.
okay, well, I'm going to check on my traveling in Mexico Canadian Facebook page and ask anybody that's gone down recently, because there have been people traveling. And what date do we think this became effective?
Oh, it's happened in easily the last 3 months. You think does that sound right? I think 3 months.
Yeah,
It,
getting the visa online.
yeah, I mean, like you've been able to get a visa online for like the last 5 years, but this
Yes.
this
Yes.
policy of you can't get it at the border, and they are enforcing it, which they never did before. That policy's been around
The
for
lady
maybe
at-
3 months.
The lady at the consulate told me it started in January.
In January,
Oh,
first of the
because-
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
It
got at Hermosillo at the airport was that 1 week tourist visa. And when I left, they said, you overran your visa. You have to pay this.
You know, another thing they did at the exact same time, and I'm only aware of this because of Yuya, is they limited the senior discount cards to Mexicans. And it happened right around the same time. And it happened so quickly that they were blocking residents and temporaries from getting a senior discount before the website had been updated to say it has to be Mexican residents, it has to be recognized
What
Mexicans.
if you already had one?
I believe it's still applicable. I think you can still use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
But
there a distinction between Mexican citizen and Mexican permanent resident?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. Like
'Cause
I
I
don't
know-
I don't believe I can get one. And I'll double check with Yuya, but when I get older, I don't think I can apply for one unless I become a Mexican citizen.
You're a permanente, aren't you?
I'm a permanente. And I believe they were giving these discount cards to seniors if they're a permanente or
They
a
did.
temporary.
Yes.
Yeah, and now they are not.
Are you familiar with the airline? Do you have to have your FMN on the internet if you're flying, or is it
I-
done by the airline?
I believe so. Sid, you're the most recent one that was traveling like that I'm aware of. You did your visa application online for the airlines, right?
No, I just flew down.
You flew down without a visa?
I had no idea of any of this stuff when I came down. And I really didn't learn about it until after I called the consulate when I'd gotten home. Because
So,
there were several people in line with me that all had the same thing happen there at Hermosillo
so it sounds like
at the
on your
airport.
way down, Sid was with us in February. It sounds like on your way down, they were allowing you to get your visa at the airport.
Yeah, but
Was
it's
it
only the 1 week.
a 1 week visa? Okay. Yeah, I really don't know the nuance of it. Maybe Yuya's got better data on that, but it really took everybody by surprise. We went through about a week there of news reports of people getting turned around at the border lines, long lines, like the first time long lines trying to get into Mexico. People that would come down for the weekend to just do shopping and hang out in Mexico were all just jammed up at the border trying to go across. Well, and now the U.S. is going to be taking your picture while you're trying to get your visa. It's an interesting bit of data collection that's going to be going on at the border with pictures, facial recognition, association with mass databases that we know already exist out there. They'll just be adding to it. Just click, 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 click. You know, another couple of files of your behaviors.
So the last 2 years or 3 years, Customs has been doing the taking the picture and facial recognition at the U.S. border. And the last 2 years, it's been an option with all TSA airport locations. And now they're trying to get everybody to just let them take the picture now, but you can still opt out of it. But not at the border.
Not at leaving across the border.
No.
Not as you're exiting. You don't have a choice. They're taking pictures of license plates, faces, they're using facial recognition, and they're fortified to stop you if they feel it's warranted. I've never seen it happen.
They always should take your pictures as you go through the, drive through the thing. See the camera go click, click, click.
What you're talking about, going into Mexico from leaving the United States is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Leaving the United States.
well, going into the United States too.
Oh yeah, of course. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about going into Mexico, leaving the United States, exiting the United States. They're taking your pictures. They're adding them to a database. They're using facial recognition to figure out who you are.
Who cares?
And they're fortified there to stop you if it's necessary. In the last few years, they've had an X-ray truck there that they can run you through if necessary.
On both sides.
Again, I'm talking about leaving the United States.
I know, but I said on both sides they have that.
Yeah. But we knew that. I mean, going into the United States has always been a pain in the ass. It's the pain in the ass leaving the United States that I want to make a distinction. Leaving the United States is not entering Mexico. Entering Mexico is a whole different experience.
Easy.
Yeah. Entering and exiting Mexico is nothing. Entering and leaving the United States has just become a joke. Hopefully all in the name of better security, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It's all right as long as your picture's not in the post office.
Yeah, I mean, what are you worried about? If you haven't done anything wrong, it should be fine.
Yeah.
I say that very facetiously.
Well, they're turning journalists and scientists away at airports and at the Canadian border now. If you've got a history of being anti-right wing and anti-Trump, you can get turned back.
When we've watched,
and they are demanding to see people's phones.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to mention. We've already talked about it quite a bit, that they have the right to ask for your phone. I would look at that article that we were looking at a couple of weeks ago, because they can ask for your phone, and if you're an American, you can decline to open it, and they can just put it in a box and hold it indefinitely. That's all well within their rights. If you're a foreigner entering the United States and you refuse to open your phone, they don't have to let you into the United States, and they can choose to hold you, detain you as a threat.
For scientific conventions and stuff in the U.S., Europeans are recommending to scientists and journalists to carry a burner phone
Yeah.
and wipe your hard drive.
Yeah, and in tech journalism, I've heard the recommendation of if you must bring your main device up, upload it to the cloud and wipe it, so you're going across with a clean device that can't. If they do need to flip through it, you can give full permission. There's just nothing in there to find. An Android, it'd be interesting to see how sophisticated they are in the long run, because you could theoretically have another account on an Android device. If you're really sophisticated, you could bury your stuff behind another account. It just depends on how sophisticated they of searching they're doing. And still, the searching, admittedly, is happening to like 1% of 1% of people out there. But like Sid said, the people that are reporting this stuff are scientists and journalists. They're the ones, well, and hacking researchers that are all popping up as they're crossing the border with red flags going, hey, maybe you ought to take a look at this person's phone. The act of asking to look at your phone is an act that can be interpreted by law enforcement or customs. How you respond to it can give them an insight into how they should respond to it. It's a crazy world we're living in.
Question on that. What happens if you give them a dead phone?
Well, again, like I said, they can, any of your devices, they can choose to hold over. If you don't open them up, as an American, if you open up your device, they're not supposed to be able to detain you, but they do at that point have the ability to find something that incriminates you. And right now we're living in a world where that is up to that guy right there. It's not really up to laws, it's up to the smell test at that point. Can you imagine this scenario? He gets in, he's looking at your Instagram feed, and you have a bunch of like socialist or communist stuff you're following. He doesn't have to detain you. He can just go over to the computer and write a note about you and wait for somebody to read the note and decide what he's supposed to do with you. It's a weird world we're living in right now. I don't have any good news, which is sad after all those topics, but I've got one more that'll break your heart. The latest versions of Windows is including the recall, which you are supposed to be able to turn off yourself. Recall is the controversial saving of screenshots that is perpetually happening in the Windows environment and is being analyzed by AI for words on the screen, so that it's collecting everything. This is what I was trying to remember last week when we got into a little bit of this discussion, was the name of this system called Recall. And the idea is everything that you ever do on your screen is getting stored in a manner that it can be recalled to help you analyze and organize the things that you're doing with your computer. The security implications of this are vast, because it's quite literally a system that is periodically, and I say periodically, it sounds like, oh, maybe every 15 minutes. No, it's like every 15 microseconds is taking a picture and analyzing what's on your screen for content that can be shoved in a database to be ferreted out later. Anybody that's concerned about security should be turning this feature off. And here's the latest. The AI that's doing this stuff is able to do this across your WhatsApp and Signal messages, two of the platforms that are considered the most secure. This is able to be done by running that app on your Windows computer. You have essentially opened yourself up to displaying that information, having it collected and organized by Microsoft's AI.
How do you turn it off?
Right. I don't know if it's in your computer, but yes, you're able to turn it off. It is for Copilot PCs, from what I understand. So if you have not bought I mean, we'll see what happens, right? But right now they're saying this is a feature. Security analysts are not taking it as a feature, but Microsoft's saying this is a feature that people in business want. You're going to have to buy a Copilot Plus PC to take advantage of it. What security analysts are saying is, look at what this feature can do for exposing all your data. All a hacker has to do is get a hold of that ball of data, and you've compromised everything on your computer. And now they're saying including WhatsApp and Signal can be compromised this way. An update to this article. This is an older article. It's from last month, but they updated at the end of the month saying, oh, by the way, Meta's AI can do this too. And they're referring to the mobile versions of this stuff because the mobile versions leave themselves open to the same kind of problem. I have not researched this extensively, but I would think intuitively what Siri will be able to do requires these kinds of screenshots for them to have this kind of knowledge of yourself. On an iPhone, I would imagine you'd have to jump through a hoop for every particular application. Oh, hey, are we still in a meeting? Our meeting hasn't shut down yet, has it? Is that 4 more minutes? Should I open up the other side?
11:03.
3 more minutes, okay.
3 minutes.
I'm going to open up the next meeting that you guys can funnel over into. Look at them disappear. Scurrying.
How come nobody's saying anything up there?
Oh, look at that. Oh, you remember we,
I know. But
yeah, it's here
they're
because,
still not saying anything. You know,
There you
up
go.
there at the internet.
oh yeah. Well, Cheryl was. She was holding her fingers up to let me know how much time we had. Sid's jumping right over. Excellent. Here comes Chester. I must be very entertaining for all of you to make it to the second meeting.
I have recommendations.
Fred, Mom, make your way over to the other meeting. If you're having trouble finding the code, I'm going to just take it and pop it into our... Oh, Mom's moved, Fred. If you're looking for the link, well, you can find in the document I already sent, but here I'll send the link to the meet right to our chat. You can jump on that and I'll let you in. Chester's got his hand up. Go ahead, Chester.
Yeah, every few days I get a pop-up window on my iPhone that says you have not, I think it says you have not acknowledged or approved of everything going into the cloud. And of course, I don't want anything going into Apple's cloud. I don't want to use it, so I just keep deleting it every time it pops up.
This is on your iPhone.
Yes.
Chester, do you know how to take a screenshot on your iPhone? Because I'll teach you right now.
No, I don't know how.
You should be able to press the one button on the side and the volume up button at the same time, and that will take... Here's my screen. If I hit the one side button and the volume up button at the same time, it snaps a screenshot that goes into your photo roll. And then you could share that with us. The message you're describing sounds very strange, and I'd like to see the exact wording of it to determine whether that's a legitimate message or not.
Tell me again how to do a screenshot of
on your iPhone. You have three buttons on the modern phones. You've got, or well, you actually got more. You got at least three buttons. Yeah, you've got one on one side and the volume button's on the other. See, hit the single button and the volume up button at the same time. Yeah, the power button and the volume up button at the same time, and it will snap a screenshot and it will stick it into your camera roll. Oh, Fred's finally with us. Let me let him in. Hey,
okay,
Fred.
I'll do that.
Yeah, and even if you can't get it sent off to me, you could pull it up from your camera roll in next meeting and read it to me exactly what it's saying. Let me say, what we know right now, as of the last couple of months, is that there is malware out there that affect both iPhones and Android phones. This malware gets into your phone off of a compromised web experience, some server that's feeding it off. It gets into the memory of the phone, and it launches off its attacks sitting in memory. Anytime you get a message that seems out of place, anytime you feel like your phone is overheating or the battery is draining too quickly, I recommend you restart your phone. Make sure it goes to a full shutdown and start back up, because it will flush anything that's in memory that's been persistently doing things. And right now, this is the best protection you can give yourself, is to be aware of this kind of stuff happening and to take steps like that. Let me say,
it would be a good idea to reboot my phone.
That's right. On the iPhone, those two buttons I just described, if you hold them, instead of taking a screenshot, if you just hold those two buttons, then you'll end up at a shutdown screen, and you want to flip you want to flip the power to off, and then it will shut down to a blank screen. You really want to have a blank screen for about 10-20 seconds, and then you would hold that power button again until you saw the gray apple appear. You just keep holding it. I know from my own experience, sometimes I don't hold it long enough, and so I've just told myself not to let go of the button until I see the gray apple.
Well, mine shuts off by holding the same button for a long time.
Which model do you have?
SE. I have a cheapie. It's an SE.
An SE? Okay, so it might have a slightly different experience. You might only have to hold that one button down instead of the two buttons to shut it down.
Okay, I'll thank you.
But I recommend that anytime, and Android phones as well, because people are reporting, this is happening. This is happening right now in all the mobile devices. If you have a strange experience, the best thing you could do is, I don't know what that was, but there's nothing I can do about it, because it's true. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do about it is, maybe I'll just restart the phone to be on the safe side.
I'll do that.
Complete shutdown instead of a reboot.
Yeah. Okay, that other meeting shut down. And what else do we got going on? Maybe we'll save energy batteries for another one, because I didn't get a chance to finish reading that article. I don't know, unless there's anybody out there that read the batteries article and is interested in commenting on it. I'm just going to save it for next week. And since we are like an hour and 5 into our meeting here, why don't we move on to recommendations? I know Cheryl said she specifically had a recommendation.
I'm a little bit slow to this Yellowstone business, but I'm watching 1923. We watched the 1886, which was the prequel to Yellowstone.
Okay.
And I found that the two main actors are actors in name only. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw should stick to singing country music and not try to be actors, in my personal opinion. So I had a hard time with the 1880, whatever year it was, series. But going into the 1923, we have Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, I think is the...
Yes.
I haven't had any interest in these shows until you just said that. You mean Han Solo's in it?
Yeah, and he's excellent, older gentleman, and just the whole way of performing it's absolutely wonderful. I just binged the first season, and Bill's already watched it on his own, so we're now going to get into season 2 together. But 1923, highly recommend it. It keeps you going, and it is quite violent. It is quite upsetting. There's a whole bunch about Native schools and Indigenous people, and the way they were treated, and the settling of Montana, and quite interesting stuff. So
It
highly
has
recommend.
It has 3 plots all going at one time.
That's right.
The Indian girl and the ranch and the son that's overseas.
Right, and trying to make his way home. Yes. So you're in Africa, and you're in Montana, and you're in Native reservation territory as well. The scenery, the photography, it's just an amazing series. I'm really, really enjoying it.
Well, we're watching Suits.
Oh. Now, is that... Well, Suits, but there's a new one. I think it's called Suits New York or Suits California, something. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
The Suits that we're watching is in New York law firm.
Yeah.
And we're on year 5 or season 5.
Yeah, and I watched that one, but I've been seeing ads for this newer one that's on TV right now, and it's called Suits. But
I like the intrigue of the program, and each one has a lot of nuances. But I don't like the ugliness of the acting. It's just so damn ugly to each other.
You mean, like, is it authentic or is it bad acting?
No, this couldn't be authentic. You don't talk to people that way under any circumstance.
Well, that's interesting. Suits, 1923. We got any other recommendations out there? Books?
Have we seen anything, Jerry?
Books, apps, websites, podcasts.
what was that, Sandy? Sandy said something.
Well, she was asking
I'm
Dad
asking Jerry. I can't remember the names of anything. Hang on.
Well, while we wait for Mom to come up with one, I wanted to mention that I have started watching The Good Wife. I know it's very old. I've never bothered to watch it, had no interest, and saw something and thought, okay, well, I'll take a look at it. And I've been running it in the background as I'm doing work. And this morning, I'm in season 5, episode 13. This is taking place in 2013. And there is, if you go 23 minutes in, there's this great little dance that happens with the NSA doing wiretaps, and how they immediately discover that the people that they're tapping know that they're being wiretapped and have gone out and bought a bunch of burner phones. And within just a few moments, they've got the burner phone numbers. And I thought it was just really enlightening because this is 2013, and you'll watch as this is an activity that happens interpersonally. There's somebody over here doing wiretaps on one group, somebody over here doing wiretaps on another. They happen to be talking to each other just out of coincidence. They lose the wiretap on one. It pops up on the other because it's the burner phone. Now they've got the burner phone's phone number, and they distribute that new number to everyone that needs to know it. And it happens like 50 seconds after they start using the burner phone. And what I imagine, I made that note in our document here, that I imagine all that happens automatically now. There isn't an interpersonal person to talk to another person to make that connection. I think that we've just got a Google AI out there making those connections automatic. We were talking 12 years later. There's no reason to think that I have to lean across the desk and go, hey, here's the phone number of the new burner phone. You can imagine all that's happening in microseconds automatically. So I thought
we're watching 2 current weekly ones. One is called Landman, Land Lease.
Landman.
It's Landman. Yeah, Landman. I was going to talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
And the other one is Dark Winds.
Oh.
Yes.
Dark Winds.
Excellent.
I'm familiar with Landman. Is Dark Winds
It's an
Tony
Indian
Hillerman?
reservation.
Dark
Scott,
Wind is based on the
It's
Dark Wind is
Hillerman,
based
right?
on the Tony Hillerman books.
Yeah, that's what I
yes,
thought. I think I've watched that.
and you
Yeah.
like Tony Norman, Terry or Scott?
Yeah,
We've
I've
talked
I've
about
read a
Dark
lot of Tony
Winds.
Hillerman.
Yeah.
We talked about Dark Winds before, and I watched the first season. It seems like years ago now, and you're right. The second or another season is out now. I'm watching a weekly show called Paradise. I don't know if anybody has seen it, but basically, government creates a underground city, and the president and chosen few are chosen to live in this underground city,
All right,
while the rest
Jim.
of the
Jim's
world
outta
has
here.
been annihilated.
He's leaving me here to sit all by myself.
Bye, Jim.
All right, you guys have a good one. See you next Tuesday.
Hey, I'm disappointed that Bill isn't with you, Cheryl, because last week he was disappointed with Andor, and he has got to watch the new Andor, the last 3 episodes. He has to watch them. He can't give up on it this soon. It was amazing. It was all of a sudden everything, all the disjointed stuff that he was complaining about, all come to fruition in these last 3 episodes.
Okay, I will tell him that, and we will probably check it out tonight.
Yeah, it's intense. It was worth waiting for, because I understand where he was coming from. Those were years apart, and it didn't feel like they had anything to do with each other. And the payoff is in this set of 3. Should write that down here too. Andor. Have we got anything else before we call this meeting to an end?
Well, the only thing that I have now that somebody else brought up Landman is I think we told you a while back we went back to some of the old shows and watched them over again, such as The Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah.
So we finished it, and we have been so longing for that kind of strange humor. We finally said, all right, let's go look at the young
Sheldon.
Young Sheldon, yeah, that's fun.
We're finding so much joy out of that. We're getting close to the end. If anybody knows about a half an hour show that just, keeps you happy, you want to see how these people are doing, we've made it a rule to watch something like that right before we go to bed, because we watch so much heavy drama. We need some smiles, I think, before we go to sleep. So young Sheldon has been wonderful for that.
Sandy, last night Bill said, because we've been looking for what are we going to watch this summer, and he said, maybe we should try that Young Sheldon, because we loved The Big Bang. That was our last summer. We binged all of the years and did it. I keep seeing shorts for the Heck family, Sue, Axel, and Breck. I don't know what the name of this weekly show is, but it's...
yeah. I don't think it's on anymore, but I watched a lot of that.
Yeah, but I would like to know what the name of it is, because it keeps showing up in reels and stuff. And Sue Heck is the girl.
The mom was on Raymond, and she's kind of playing the same kind of role in a different family.
Okay, so I don't know what that...
I don't know what it's called either, but it seems like we found that one day when we were just sliding through.
Yeah.
And
The Middle.
didn't stick with it.
It's called what?
The Middle. I remember it now. We watched a lot of it when it was on. It's called The Middle. The Middle, referring to the middle of the United States, if I remember right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just your...
There's a couple of them. One was Reba, that was very good. And another one was Happy, which is Reba McEntire's new show.
Did you say Happy?
Happy, yes.
That can't be the Happy show I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of the middle show, Scott.
No, there's a Happy show I'm aware of. It's a sci-fi show, and it's really rude, really funny. about
No, this-
Oh, yeah,
an
it's
imaginary
hilarious.
unicorn.
This is with Reba McEntire.
Yeah, it's
And
not the same thing.
No, this isn't the same show.
Yeah,
So it's just called The Middle.
The Middle,
I had
yeah,
no
on
idea.
ABC. I'm trying to remember. It had a crossover with an a show that's cast in the 80s. Oh, yeah, that Goldberg show. I don't know if they
Oh,
ever-
and another one that I really liked, Sandy, was that 70s show.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's
Is
an
that
awesome
the title
show.
of it?
That 70s show, I'm pretty sure is what it's
Yep.
called. And I've seen that there's a spin-off of it when the kids are older, like when
right. Netflix specific. They did a that's 70s show, that's 80s show, and then I think it's the that's 90s show is the
Yeah,
one,
that's 90s has got 2 seasons.
and that is from Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
a reintroduce the original cast as adults with their children.
Yeah, Eric and Donna's daughter's living with Eric's parents for the summer. She starts dating Kelso's son. It's funny.
It's good. It's really good. The 80s show was not that great. It was original. It was.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, it ended up getting canceled. But the 90s show is a Netflix show that was intentionally is the extension of the 70s show. It's like the next, their next whatever. They flipping a
Season.
page. Well, they're all adults now. This is 20 years later, and they have children, and the parents that were frustrated with teenagers before are now grandparents frustrated with teenagers.
Does that happen?
Hey, I
Yes.
wanted to mention,
Okay.
as we've been talking, Mom, you said something about going to bed without the deep dramas. Black Mirror has a new season. And I'm not saying it aligns with what Mom was saying in any form except Yuya and I watched the first episode of the new season, and we were shuddered. We finished that first episode. We both looked at each other and said, maybe we should watch something else after that. I'm not ready for another one of those. It was dark and demented, and it reminded me of the first episode of the first season of Black Mirror. Just like did they intentionally pick a topic that would make people not want to come back and watch another one?
Yeah. I didn't care for that show either. I didn't get very far.
Well, I've
Yeah.
enjoyed a lot of it, but it was so dark the first episode that we couldn't handle watching another episode of it.
We're finding we don't like to watch shows about aging when we're pretty sure it's going to wind up dying. We've been skipping those shows.
Hey, I'll also recommend Thunderbolts from Marvel. I don't know if you guys, I mean, like the Marvel movies, the last Marvel movie was the Captain America movie, and I would not recommend that to anybody. It was just boring. I love Harrison Ford, and I was so excited that he was going to be the Red Hulk, and I spent the whole movie waiting for it to happen, and then when it happened, it didn't matter. You were so bored. It was so dialogue driven. The movie moves forward with stories instead of action. It's like they were quite literally like telling you what happened instead of seeing what happened. It was so. Anyway, this is a refreshing.
Didn't we have a Jonathan rant on that one?
Probably, or maybe Jonathan was ranting about one of the other movies, and I brought this up. But it was my biggest concern going into this movie. In fact, I wasn't going to go see this at the movie theater. I purposely went out to see Captain America at the movie theater. After that experience, I'm like, no, let's just wait for it. We'll see it on Streamio or something. And then these reviews started coming out for it, talking about what a great film it is. And so that's what prompted us to go to the movie theater. And we had a wonderful time. We laughed. We laughed hard throughout the movie. There's a couple of bits where it slows down, but in general, you come out and your belly hurts. So I recommend it. It's fun.
Okay.
Thunderbolts. That's the end of any
Thunderbolt.
recommendations I have. I'm happy to write down any others you guys have. We got a big list of shows in today's meeting.
Well, I commented on the one called Reba.
Reba.
Yeah.
Let me put that in here. Reba. I have not seen that. I didn't get the middle in here. And Mom, another one, as I was mentioning before, the middle is great. I like the Goldbergs. If you know Adam Goldberg as an actor, director, producer, he wrote this series more or less based on his life as a child. And so it's back in the 80s with his fascination with making movies and pop culture. And he starts out as a young guy and grows into a college-bound kid throughout the series. It's really good for that kind of humor. 30-minute show.
I don't think Sandy was on, but a while back I talked about the CBC GEM app. GEM is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation TV, and it's online, and as far as I know, it's free access, and it is for me as a Canadian. I'm not sure if you have to put a VPN on or whatever, but anyways, on CBC GEM they have all kinds of really fun family things to watch, and the one I've just kind of started is North of North.
Oh,
And
yes. We've been watching that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. I
quick,
thought of you
what do
guys.
you watch it
I
on,
just-
Mom? North to North. What do you watch it on?
The TV.
Yeah, right. But is it Netflix? Is it
What, Terry?
Paramount?
Dad thinks it's Netflix.
Let me do a.
I know. I couldn't find it on that, but I found a bunch of them. The other one was Saint Pierre, which is the little island off of Newfoundland. Saint Pierre. It was a mystery
And Cheryl, remember,
detective.
they're in the United States, so their Netflix is different from your Netflix.
Yeah, I often put my VPN on and watch Netflix, but.
Well, it has listed in the United States as being available on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It's also you can rent it from Prime Video.
From Prime, yeah, Prime
no, it's free
is
from
doing.
Prime Video, so you can get it on Prime too.
Okay.
Yeah. But CBC GEM is the station, and I know I watched Saint Pierre on that one, and another one called Allegiance. Just they're all Canadian content kind of stuff. That's the North of North you've got up there now.
North of North.
Yeah. The problem I had with it is the leading lady is adorable, absolutely adorable, but it feels like she's overacting, overcompensating for something. And I wish she would just kind of take a breath, you know.
Yeah.
We've gotten far enough along now that I think she's more comfortable in her role, but she still seems just a little sweeter than Jem, you know, a little bit sweeter than necessary. I don't know quite. I'm not saying it right, but anyway, a little overdone. But otherwise, I just love it. I love that it feels more native and feels more far northish than any. We watched a plane show, I think I told you about, but it was a year or so ago, about this plane company that flies, I believe, in the Yellowknife.
Alaska.
Northern Air. And I really enjoyed that. It was kind of simple, but it was, it was just.
I watched all of that. I feel the same way. It was great.
You felt like you're home.
Yeah.
And you guys got me watching it, and I watched the whole darn thing. I think I binged the whole series and was looking for some more. So.
Oh, is that not the name of it though? I'm not finding it. Maybe it's.
No, it's Alaska Air, I thought.
No, it's a Canadian show.
It's Northern. I think it's Northern Air.
Northern Air.
That doesn't sound right either, does it?
No, what is that show? Because I watched
Air
it
North.
All. Air North?
I thought it started with Air.
Yeah, I did too. We watched all of it.
Air North.
I liked it because of the airplanes. I loved them, and they were
they were North,
show.
north,
How come
Northwest
I can't remember
Air?
the name of it? I stumbled across it too. No, or Northern Air Rescue is not it.
No.
Arctic Air?
Is it?
It's Arctic Air.
Arctic.
Oh, I bet that's it. Arctic Air.
Arctic
I
Air.
thought it was A. Yeah,
Yeah.
Arctic. There we
Arctic
go.
Air. No, I really enjoyed that show. 2 years,
Yeah.
2 seasons.
Yeah.
And I think what you feel like, a
The-
good word would be like, it feels wholesome. It just feels like nice people, real people dealing with real problems.
Really helpful people wanting to help everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it feels in the North, but at least we brag about that we all help each other.
What have I done here?
Cheryl's not saying anything, so she
No,
doesn't.
no. I was just thinking about what Chester said about how there's no way that suits could be real people because there's no way you talk to people like that. When we're talking about, we like shows where they're much more friendlier.
What's
Well-
this show that used to come on with a moose that walked across the northern?
Oh, Northern
Something
Oh,
Exposure.
Northern Exposure.
Exposure.
That was a fun show,
That-
but it had
hated
little
that
to do
show.
with Alaska.
Yeah. The only
was-
thing
Oh,
was the
Sid.
moose walking down the street. That
That-
was probably
Yeah, that-
something that would happen in Alaska. I mean, they walked down the street in front of my house. So I think, yeah, that would be typical.
Yeah,
Hey, they run through my yard.
right?
And I'm not that far north. I'm only central Alberta.
But what I remember funny about Northern Exposure is how wherever that fictitious town was, it was so easy to go to Juneau, Alaska, or Anchorage, Fairbanks.
Oh, yeah.
Or
A
like
15-minute air hop.
yeah, all of a sudden you're there. It's like, no, where do you triangulate this village to be? It's near water, it's near mountains, it's 15 minutes away from Anchorage. It's
Okay, Sid, you didn't like it. What didn't you like? Did you see yourself?
So it was the second or third episode. The lady that played the pilot, she's talking about, yeah, it was a rough day. It's like 4 p.m. She goes, yeah, I left here at 8 a.m. I had to fly to Nome. I had to fly to Fairbanks. I had to fly to Bethel. She's flying all over the state. These are flights that take 4 hours in a commercial plane,
right
and she's doing it in a Super Cub.
before
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
it's the opposite of everything is big in Texas. Alaska's just a tiny little place. So
yeah, it's,
Population-wise, that's pretty true.
Yeah. a lot of distance between places.
Yeah.
So that's-
Unlike Canada, where you're all just so nice and tight, and I don't know why America wants you. You aren't big enough.
and I can't talk about being nice in Canada because I live in the province of Alberta.
Well, like we're Alaskans, right? We forget that we are part
all those
of
oil trucks, huh, Cheryl?
Oh, and this whole group that are so interested in joining the states and
oh, that's good.
how better off we would be. It's quite depressing. Oh well.
Mhm.
Well,
Hey, you
guys,
don't know what you have till you
They've been
lose it.
fed something.
we're at almost an hour and a half. I think we need to bring this meeting to an end. But it's sure
Yep.
fun catching up with you guys. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it is.
It will
I'm glad
probably
I was
be
able to get
only
back
me
on.
and Jim again next week, but I'll show up for an in-person meeting.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Okay, we'll see you guys on next week and take care.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Until next
All right.
time, tech
Have fun
on.
all.
Next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Fred. Bye, Mom.
Bye-bye.
You want to come back on for a minute?
Yeah, let me shut this down and I'll get a hold
You
of
don't
you.
have to run.
Yeah, I do, but
It's not important.
oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, then maybe we could talk later this afternoon then.
Sure.
Okay.
It's no big deal.
All right.
All righty.
Love you, Mom. Bye.
Heidi. Bye-bye. Love you.
All right. There it is. We did it again. That was our San Carlos Computer Club meeting, which anyone is invited to join us. if you need meet codes or any of that kind of knowledge, you can go to the website scclub.org, or if you want computer help, or you could email Scott at internationalcs.net. I'd appreciate that. I'm a remote worker. I do remote IT throughout the internet with various customers, and you could be one. If you're looking for solutions in your area, I may be able to help you remotely. So give me a shot. That's Scott at internationalcs.net. And like I said before, we've got Twitter, well, I guess X. We've got that account still. We've got a Blue Skies account for the club. We've got a Facebook page, and we've got a website, scclub.org. So you can find all that information there. If you're interested in our club, you want to support us, you want to come talk in the meeting, or go to the YouTube channel and just lurk. You're welcome to just come watch what we're doing for entertainment. If you want to get one of these documents that I send out, our documents of possible topics, I build one of these each week, and I send it out to our members. Our members are a list it's basically a mailing list. The people that show up, they get an email that includes this document at least the day before the meeting, and then on the day of the meeting, they get an announcement for the meeting. Both items include meet codes so that you can get connected, and the other various nuances of what entitles our meeting. So just get a hold of me if you're interested in that. Until next Tuesday, everyone, tech on.